Hey there. From the earliest philosophies and most beautiful writings of old, you'll see that in almost every spiritual tradition there is an idea of achieving an inner balance for health and for progression. Our inner evolution needs to be done in a equal and thought out way. In order to do this, the ancient sages of old identified 4 elements: earth, air, fire and water. And though there are some variations on this theme, they tend to be the most prevalent. Probably because if you do contemplate what's around you, you can see there's solid, liquid, gas and energy. In order then to achieve this inner balance, various methods of determining your own elemental characteristics have evolved. So looking at a person, it's probable that you can recognize some people who have one element far stronger than the rest. An earthy person who's very concerned with physical objects, very concerned with security, very concerned with worldly matters. A watery person would be more emotional after experience and emotional connection. An air person would be very intellectual, wanting to know things, wanting to understand things, working through strategy. And a fire person would be very ambitious, wanting to achieve things, wanting to make things happen. One key way of seeing what the predominant element is by looking at the strategies they employ. An earth person will try to change things physically. A water person will try to appeal emotionally to themselves or convince someone emotionally or make a more emotional reason for something to happen. An air person will give people more information or improve strategy or find a different way of doing things through thinking it out. And a fire person, they'll use will, they'll use energy, they'll use direction to make that happen. But to get more granular, to get more detail, you would need a better method than just watching someone. You can't be there all the time. And what about yourself? It's quite hard to tell where you are, because a fiery person's looking at the world through fiery eyes, and a watery person's going to be emotionally responding to things in a watery way. And what about the balance of the elements beyond that first dominant one? Well, different traditions have found different beautiful ways to do this. Some of them look at what you eat. A fiery person will go for very hot food and normally hot and dry, and a watery person is going to be going for sort of liquids and so on. Sometimes that's a way to discover, because what you take in is a real big part of you. There's one order which does something quite interesting. They ask all their practitioners to write a diary every day, and then they get 4 different pens, and they go through every sentence and assign an element to it. This is so they can just flick through and see, oh, your diary, all the pages are red, you're a fire person. It's all brown, these pages, you're concerned with earthly matters. Other teachers say you can tell things physically. You can look at the person's body. You can look at what they can do physically, what postures they can hold. I even know hand readers that they feel the skin on the person and they say they can sense from the warmth and the texture. Some people read eyes or ears. Some people take the pulses. There are countless methods. In Franz Barden's system, there's a method whereby you use contemplation. You've learnt the elements and you write down all your fire qualities. In one book, you'll have the earth, air, fire and water of your shortcomings. Another book, you'll have your earth, air, fire and water of your virtues. And you'll do a kind of chart at the front so you can see which of these soul mirrors has what kind of balance. You're able to see which is your first, second, third and fourth element. And you'll classify these things through deep contemplation. In this video, I'd like to suggest another very simple method, which I think will add extra insight to any method you're using. And this might be an interesting exercise. I suggest that money may well show honesty. You see, in market research, there's a thing they call expressed preference. Expressed preference is what the person says as opposed to what they do. If you stop someone in the street and you say to them, "Do you eat meat?" I say, "Yes." And you say, "Right, okay, so what's the most important thing to you about meat? Is it the price or how the animal's treated?" They'll say, "How the animal's treated." You say, "Do you believe that we should have organic food, or do you think it should be produced sort of en masse?" They'll say organic. So they tell you all these wonderful, beautiful ideals, but if you were to look in their shopping basket, you discover they just buy cheap meat. So what people say to themselves and to others isn't necessarily the truth. And looking at what people do, not what they say, is a very good principle to see the truth. And this is a way that you can catch yourself out by doing that. At the end of the week, put together a list. Maybe we could call this an elemental balance sheet, a spiritual balance sheet. I can sense the accountants watching this in pain at that title. But anyway, you can put together everything you spent in that week. Maybe you could do it by a month. And itemize it and contemplate what elementally you gained from that. Was it something that created something physical, gave extra stability or protection, or added to the ownership of physical things for yourself or others? Was it something that was looking for an emotional connection or experience? Was it a gift for someone else, or did you take someone to the cinema or do something lovely with somebody else? Was it something for your own emotional enjoyment? Did you buy a nice drink or something that changes your emotions in some way? Was it an intellectual thing? Did you buy a book that allows you to explore a different area? Or did you go and see a talk that allowed you to learn more? Was it something to do with ambition? Was it something to do with your achievements? And you can go through each of these, the earthly one where it's an object or a physical thing would be, you could mark that with a brown pen, that one. You could do, all the emotional things would be underwater, that emotional connection, change your own emotions. That intellectual thing would be under air. You can mark that with your, maybe a yellow pen. And, the fiery, was it to achieve something? You can mark that in red. So whatever colours you choose to attribute, you can then, at the bottom, do a balance of what you spent on each element. Now, you might need to then muse on some of the environmental factors or situations. If you're going through a time of change, if you live in a very expensive part of the world, you're going to be spending a lot more on earth just on your rent, but you can then start to look at the truth, and in particular look at the spare money, the money that wasn't assigned for anything that you spent. Did you spend it on ambition? Did you spend it on knowledge? Did you spend it on emotions? Or did you spend it on earthly objects? And I think this may provide a truth that you can reflect on. And once you know, wow, okay, that's where it's going, there may be an inner change. You may think, actually, I'm spending a lot on changing my emotions. Why am I buying all these things that are to hype me up or change how I feel? Why am I not happy in and of myself? Or, I'm buying a lot for a goal, but it's not the goal I want to be doing. That's one that someone else keeps pushing me into. This might be a bit of an awakening. The honesty of money and where you spend it, because this is your potential to make things happen in the world, may be a very insightful thing and maybe a very important wake-up call. So, try your elemental balance sheet. Maybe upload a picture of it in the comments section, or just let us know how it goes. My name is Martin Faulks, and until next time, let's let every word, thought, and action count.